Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. So today we are joined by Ankit from Almighty Blues. So thanks Ankit for joining us.
My pleasure for sure.
So
I know we had to basically discuss. I've been connecting for a while, but yeah, looking forward to the discussion for sure.
yeah, so we'll start off with the Chelsea Brighton game first. So again another blockbuster game. Whenever Chelsea is involved, our heartbeats like can't stay stable. Of course, after that Gallagher red card, it was looking very doomed. But that counter attack, which started with Sterling and then that pass to Nico and then Mudrik, that penalty one. So, as a whole, how do you analyze the game?
See, first of all, like you said, Chelsea is right now is just like how we used to play football in school days, right? You kind of
Yeah,
have some great, as in all the adrenaline rush, and you're like wow, and so upbeat, and the next moment you make some naive errors, and that's what it is because we are a set of youngsters. It's a young team, it's a young project, so as to speak. But Heart Attack FC, like you put it right, and that was one of those games yet again. Very strangely enough, for whatever reason, we have developed this little, in terms of the fans itself, some rivalry between Brighton and Chelsea, which is so almost weird to even talk about it because,
exactly.
again, no disrespect, but the fact is we are Chelsea and we're talking about Brighton, and apparently Brighton and Chelsea, at least management wise, we are kind of, we do a lot of business and etc. And we are having great terms. But we know, as in between fans, a lot of other things go on, right? And that's what comes when you get it from Brighton supporters as well as the manager. That was very clear from the last, I think, couple of games that we played them. But I think coming to the game itself, I would say that I was a little bit surprised that Martin did not get a start. I don't know. Were you surprised that Martin did not get a start because playing with four back as in centre backs was a surprise in itself, right? Despite the
I think
people
we
missing.
played Disasi at the right against Brentford as well, and that didn't go well for us because the right side
Exactly.
was completely off, and even Palmer wasn't there yesterday. So the right side looked like gloom because Palmer and Sterling has a very good combination because one goes from the right, one goes from the left, so the defenders are really worried about it. And but if you see, then Sterling was really struggling against Hinchelwood as well. Like Hinchelwood had the better numbers against Sterling yesterday.
Yeah, but I
Uh,
think the first
so
20-25 minutes, I would still say, because obviously the set piece goals are scoring for a change helps the morale. But first 20-25 minutes, I think we were still very good in my opinion, compared to what we would have been in a general scenario when people are missing. But again, like you mentioned, that there was a change in the approach, the wings. So what I noticed is what Poch there we have to give Poch credit. Like what he did in the first half an hour at least is very clear to see. He put like four centre halves, did not give us width, right? And that is why we played with Sterling and Modric almost like a proper traditional wingers. And but that, on the other hand, made Nicholas Jackson, obviously for the wrong reasons, he was in news before the match, very isolated, and he needed some motivation, and that's why basically we had Conor Gallagher as well as who was the captain for the game, as well as Enzo Fernandez, actually playing almost like false tens, trying to play closer to Nicholas Jackson so that it was almost like a 4-1-4-1, so as to speak, right? But that's what it was good while to gain possession because Brighton, just like similar to Newcastle last week, we noticed they do press a lot. But here, Chelsea were ready for it more, and that's why we were pressing and winning balls in the first half an hour. So I think it was a very good thing. It turned out to be a very bad thing toward the end of the half because Gallagher was overdoing that, right? And because of which it was very clear that अरे अभी अभी आएगा yellow card. One of those matches that I was like, oh my god, he's gone, he's gone. And the moment came, ironically, it was against Billy Gilmore, and I genuinely believe I was the odd one out of saying that he didn't touch Billy Gilmore, but Billy Gilmore knows exactly what Gallagher wanted to do and vice versa. So I think that's where we lost it. But again, ready to watch, right? Second half, despite being down to 10 men, we still kind of as in held them. Whatever be the tactic, I think we went 4-2-3, simple as that. He kept it very simple. He didn't change much. There was a lot of, as in, moments where we thought, okay, that person again will get a yellow card, there's a red card coming, etc. Because referee was trying his level best to give at this much, a foul to Chelsea and not for Brighton. But again, that's for a fan to speak about. Like at the end of the day, what happens is, whether the ball goes inside the net. Again, Badia Shield, Thiago Silva, I must say, commend them for the amount of defenses, that they helped us with for sure.
So if you see, then even last game, Reece James got that red card, which was a very silly. That first yellow card, he kicked the ball out, and then again from Conor Gallagher yesterday. I mean, there was no need for going into that challenge. And even at the end, we saw Caicedo, like he committed 2 to 3 fouls when he was on a yellow, and I think we were very lucky that he didn't get a red because next week plays United. So do you think
That
that?
is very interesting. Sorry to cut you there, but see, even I am with you, right? I was again for all the people watching. Also, I'm pretty sure you guys also thought that Caicedo was lucky enough. But actually, Premier League just a few hours ago, I noticed that Premier League actually has confirmed it was Badiashile who got the first yellow and not Caicedo. So Caicedo wasn't even booked. So it was the fault of the Premier League broadcast. Simple as that, right? Because they made us feel that he got the yellow. I agree, he should have got a yellow, but it shouldn't have been a second yellow. It should have been a first yellow, technically, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
right? But again, I agree that, how can you not, when you have already had a Gallagher gone? I was like, okay, fine. In worst case, if we need be, we'll have a Leslie Ugochukwu come in. But for the matches that I did not expect Ugochukwu to play, he was there. I don't know if he was an injury or what, but I didn't hear about any injury. Why wasn't he on the bench? So there was a concern. So there are again work in progress, learning, kind of topics that even Pochettino and coaching staff needs to take from this, right? But bottom line being that we have lost games where we have played well and we have dominated. Here we did not, and we still won, which is something that we need, and that's what boys versus men is, right? And hopefully this will be a positive learning, and of course it helps when people like Enzo and Colwill score the first goals in Premier League for Chelsea. So that is the confidence booster, because I believe these two will be leaders of tomorrow.
Yeah. So again, that first Premier League goal for Enzo and probably his third goal as well for Chelsea, and that lifts off a very, very big burden from his shoulder as well because he was doing everything, but he couldn't like get his chances converted. Even against Newcastle, I think Nick Pope pulled off a very spectacular save. Enzo almost scored that day. So how big of a role do you think that it will play for Enzo given his confidence?
See, as in, we all remember last season there was a game between Dortmund and Chelsea, right? That two-legged affair in the Champions League, and there was a lot of comparison made between Bellingham and Enzo Fernandez. And I may say that at least in those two legs, Enzo got the better of Bellingham, and that's fair to say. But again, Bellingham's role was different, Enzo's role was different. Now Enzo's role is different. We are playing a different formation. Bellingham is totally outnumbered anyone, be it not midfielders, even forwards. So let's not go there. But what I'm trying to see here is there is an aspect of Enzo which has been missing, and we have to admit that as Chelsea fans, even that Enzo, his shooting boots are never on. He's not shown what the ability or the potential he showed with Argentina, right? He's not shown that yet with Chelsea. And that is the next level. For me, that if he gets that, as in it's a little bit more confidence that he gets, again, the leadership aspect that I spoke about. I think once he gets knack of English as a language, I genuinely believe he can be the future captain of Chelsea. I know in very early days, but scoring goals, someone who leads from the front helps, right? Because right now, say a Gallagher, Reece James are fantastic. The common boys, love them to bits. But they are not people who would get you numbers. Enzo has that ability. Now he needs to transmit that into actual results. I think it'll happen with a 4-3-3 formation or a 4-1-4-1, like I tried explaining. If Enzo gets that freedom, maybe he could play that Fabregas kind of role, for all we know in the future.
Yeah, so he could be the next poster boy for Chelsea.
Again, I don't care about poster boy. I just want basically someone who's consistent, and someone who's basically able to deliver when it matters. Because I think that is what makes you the difference between, say, an above average player to a say a genuine potential world class player. And I think Enzo has that. It's clear for everyone to see, because as in we know Chelsea, right? As in, I'm sure, like you talk about Manchester United, any other club for that matter, when you are expected to do well, then the benchmark is high already. Here, let's keep the benchmark low, and then let's hope that Enzo gets above that. I think that's a better way, because that's how it goes in cup competitions. And we've got a success as Chelsea, as in when people don't expect us, we do well, right? But we know what we are. I think that's what I think Enzo and the team should believe, and hopefully Poch being an Argentine helps with Enzo being around, and of course Thiago Silva being a South American helps, when he's around.
Yeah. Yesterday we put Matson into that right when once Mitoma came on, and it was a very even battle as well. I mean, Matson got the better of Mitoma every time because Malo Gusto was injured and Reese James suspended. So we were very lucky that probably Mitoma didn't start because I don't think that one-on-one he would have caused some problems for Disasi as well. But then Matson coming on, we changed it to a very much like a back five, I guess, with Colville on the left and Matson on the right and three centre backs and a very low block as well from the middle.
I think Deserby, see, as in again, controversially, I've gone on record, so I cannot change that. That basically, I do feel that he's a bit overrated. Not overall as a manager, but I feel that as in a lot of social media, again, in the nose, and of course us fans included, we hype a lot of attacking football a lot of times, which is fair, which is good to the eye. But the stat that as a manager they've not had a single clean sheet from the last 6 months is astounding. You know, that is not acceptable if you're any club, be my, Brighton for that sake, right? But why I'm saying that is because even tactically attacking wise, I was really surprised that Brighton did not even play Lee Mitoma, even Joao Pedro wasn't there, Pascal Gross wasn't there. I understand they had midweek football to deal with, and I think that's the Achilles heel this season. But the reality is that you're playing against Chelsea. Yes, we are 10th right now. You call us a mid-table club. You say that, and for all we know, Deserbi has himself said that we are in Europe, etc. He said that in the summer. Let's be real, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So if you really feel that, and I think you are in a cloud of your own, so you need to come to reality. They were playing against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. They missed a trick, and I believe that if those three would have started, Chelsea wouldn't have won the game. So we were lucky. I would like to admit there, yeah. But you're right. When Martin came on, there was at least 2 minutes when there was panic. Disasi was singled out. And then probably I believe there was either Thiago Silva or from someone from the bench shouting out for that tactical change, or maybe even Disasi calling out. And Martin, came as a wing back. So it was a combination of Martin, Disasi, Caicedo also kind of, not really attacking as much in the last say 15-20 minutes, and that's where probably we that was possible that we were able to deal with Mitoma. Again, Pedro had a chance. Remember, he almost had a chance. He got the ball, and Thiago Silva made his customary tackle. As in one of the tackles, as in it'll not be spoken about enough. The goals get spoken about enough. That but the tackle that Thiago Silva made in the very dying moments, that was almost a match-winning tackle in my opinion.
Yeah. Just one last question before we move on to the United and Chelsea game. In our last 10 games, we have won six and we have drawn two. Probably we could have done seven if we would have won against Arsenal. But, we haven't really gotten any momentum going because that defeat against Brentford and defeat against Newcastle as well, which completely just stalled our momentum. So, how do you think that now we have got like lesser ranked teams to play after the United game? We face Everton, Wolves, Luton. So, do
I
you
thought
think the
I thought you're
momentum?
including the United game in that. The lesser ranked team,
I
I'm
was
like,
kind of
okay,
offended.
fine.
No, I mean, after the United game, we faced them. So I think only against Newcastle we faced the like they're the only top 10 team we faced. That's also in a Carabao Cup game.
Yeah.
So do you think that we need to get on with the momentum now because it's the high time because otherwise we might miss on the UCL football again?
See, I think if we get UCL right now, I'll bite your hand off. It'll be a huge surprise. It's a pleasant surprise. I want that. Of course, it helps. Definitely helps. But the reality is like, if you're really being real, this is still a very young squad. We are still dealing with a lot of injuries. Again, no, not documented enough. Like Nkunku, people like Lavia, even I would say Petrovic, because I don't still consider Sanchez as number one, if I'm being really honest. These three people haven't even like kicked a ball for Chelsea. You know what I'm talking? So for me, it'll take time for everyone to settle, and I think we'll still be up and down, whether we play mid-table. And I would actually like to say that, say Manchester United game apart. I know Manchester United, did not attack as much in the Newcastle game, but that is Newcastle for you, right? As in that's what they're doing to a PSG. Leave Chelsea, Manchester United. And I know we have bigger clubs, but in terms of form, you have to say PSG are at least European, more experienced in the last couple of years. So I think we know that against bigger teams, Chelsea will probably do better. Why? Because those teams come out and that'll give you the space. And against low block, we don't do as well. So I would say playing those mid-table teams, and technically even we are right now one in this season at least, and last season partly. So we are going to be facing even more trouble, in my personal opinion. So again, my prediction, if you're asking me, I will be really surprised even if we get to Europa League. I don't want a Conference League, but the reality is that, I'm done with the excuses. It's better to have midweek football than not. So obviously, I would love that. But again, now that we're playing midweek, Manchester United, I don't know. The Manchester United game is kind of weird, right? Because they are, I'm not say similar, but not to very dissimilar state as what Chelsea is, because they're so up and down. In the Champions League, totally different form and results. In the Premier League, totally different vibe. I don't know. It's very difficult to predict or even like tactically say, because you might as well get a very open game, or you might as well get two sides who are like just safe because you know that there are mistakes coming. So it's really difficult to analyze this game, if I'm being honest. So it comes down to the day, simple as that. I don't know what Swapnendu thinks. What do you think? As in, Eric Ten Hag, how is the pressure? Because I think him getting those results in Premier League versus Champions League is a huge difference. So will he make those
Obviously,
tactical changes and be brave?
see, I, in my opinion, I encourage Eric Ten Hag to do tactical changes because until and unless you don't practically use it, you won't understand if it's effective or not. You need to take risks, and if you don't take it, you know what's coming. Because the tactics with which we are currently like playing every day, it's not at all working. So we need to like try something new. And
Hmm.
also, I believe like Onana's mistakes and all, like it's been a huge contributor to our losses.
And he's protecting Onana. He
Yeah,
did
yeah.
not protect
You know,
Cristiano Ronaldo, but he's
the
protecting
thing is,
Onana.
Eric Ten Hag, okay, you're a good manager, but your favoritism, man, it's out of the hands. You're like promoting every player who played with you in Ajax, but not like promoting the players
Yeah,
who are in the
well said.
academy. Your favoritism needs to go.
But at the same time, like, come on, he's been a manager who's, I know, as in different leagues. Champions League is of course a very high level league and different kind of football though.
Yeah.
But still, I believe that I was an Eric Ten Hag fan. I'll be real about it. I'm a Dutch fan as well. For people who are watching, in case you know, like I'm also Indian football, Dutch football, as in I've been following for years. So for me, Eric Ten Hag was always one that I always looked that okay, fine, he will go, to one big club one day, as in I mean the Premier League or the La Liga, etc. And I think he has an ability. I just feel that as in he and managers are stubborn. I get that, but I think he's become a little bit too stubborn. When you do not have players, I understand you got to play some players. But right now, even for instance, like playing Luke Shaw at centre back, playing Dalo at left back, as in they might do a job, but that's not what Manchester United is. Manchester United should look at basically attacking. So that's my thing. That's why I asked the question, because this match for Manchester United, I don't think it's a must win. Maybe for Eric Ten Hag personally it is, but I think it's a must not lose. For Chelsea, it's a must win, mind you. It's a must win because we are like it's a 6 pointer. We missed that 6 pointer chance with Newcastle. I know same goes for Manchester United. They also missed, but us it's even worse. We are 10th.
Yeah.
So how do what would you be like? Because you want Manchester United to win, obviously, but do you feel that because it's a must not lose compared to Chelsea, it'll be more like despite being at Old Trafford, you might hit on the brake for a difference.
See, at this point, I don't know what Eric Ten Hag is cooking because whatever he cooked up till this point is burned. To be fair, I'm very like disappointed on Eric Ten Hag. Like I was very hyped about Eric Ten Hag coming. I was hyped with the first season. Like he sent, we were third if I'm not wrong, and now we are in 10th. Like, is this what Manchester United is? I don't think so because we are like supposed to have the glory. We are not there like to be sitting in 10th. We need glory,
Yeah.
and this is not what a historically rich club like. If I'm not, it might be controversial, but in my opinion, United is the most celebrated club in England, and
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is
As
not
in,
what.
no one can deny that. As in, even as a Chelsea fan, I would love to say that yes, for the last 25 years, even we've been there. But I think the fact is, Manchester United is the biggest club in England. I cannot deny that. I don't know. Let's bring Ishayu in the conversation. Ishayu, like
Yeah,
what Swapnendu said, Do you agree that basically Eric Ten Hag has been a little bit too negative or basically very unpredictable, and is the consistency in terms of picking the team an issue? Because we are having complaints about Poch with that, but again, that does not mean Poch out. Are you Eric Ten Hag out already?
Honestly speaking, hello to all the viewers, but when Ankit actually came up to the team, I was actually expecting a positive change. But the way he's been falling out with a lot of players, first with Cristiano, then it started to, happened with Varane and all, and Sancho. So I feel that his ability of managing the team, or maybe the players, is not right. And as Swapnil was saying, I absolutely have to agree with the fact that he's a bit, moving towards his Ajax players, which is actually happening and which is visible. So I think that it's high time, and he should actually understand that United comes with a lot of expectation from all the fans around the world, and he should actually understand that and actually should make some changes which is needed enough. And I think this Chelsea match is very important, definitely for the group, but for the next matches also, because when you win against a big six, it definitely gives you that confidence which is very much needed, and you can actually take up and take that confidence to the next few matches and win a good streak of matches, which would be good enough for the team. So I think that this Chelsea match is a very important match for the team and the manager as well. And I hope that the club does well and we get the 3 points.
I think his record is really bad away playing against top 10 teams. It's terrible. In
Yeah,
fact,
yeah,
Roy Keane was like, is that for real? But
yeah,
I don't know, Orko, as in you've been there, as in we feel that I always believe that we've given, again, United deserves the respect, but this United I think is there for the taking. And I think we have given far too much respect to a United, to an Arsenal, especially in recent seasons. It's high time that we beat them. If this time also we are not able to beat United, I don't know when we'll beat United, Orko. Like I think
I
last
think
time
it
it
was
was.
very different under when we were under Tuchel, because I remember we went to Emirates and thrashed Arsenal 2-0. I think in
No, but
2021 it was.
United was not the same. I remember United, of course, the Sancho goal. I remember Jorginho's mistake,
yeah,
etc. Those,
yeah,
as in, I remember such again a lot of moments. Even last season per se, I remember the Casemiro equalizer again. Jorginho scored in that one as well. As in, I know times have changed, but I always felt, I know there were a lot of calls from Anthony Taylor being the referee, etc. Thank goodness that he's not the referee this time. But still, I would say we gave a far too much respect to United in the last few seasons. I think it was only under Lampard that we beat them in the FA Cup semi-final in the Ole. I remember that for sure. And of course, there was Conte, under whom I think when Jose was at the helm, I remember that 4-0 crazy game. I remember was it. So it's been a long time since I've seen like properly beating United. Again, I know United deserves respect, but I don't know, like this time. But what options do we have? Like, do you see us like going for the game? Because I genuinely believe that even tactically, Eric Ten Hag, if he sits, no, it'll be more difficult for Chelsea, and if he hits us on the break, it'll be more difficult for Chelsea.
I think if you see Gallagher is suspended, so I think either of if Nkunku returns, and that's the best part for us. But if he doesn't, I
He
think
won't
Palmer
start.
starts.
He won't start anyway. We know that.
Otherwise, then I think Palmer will start in that attacking mid role. I think if you see in the last few games, even against Galatasaray and even against Newcastle, the midfield of United was left pretty wide open, because Scott McTominay, we know that he's not a very good defensive midfielder. I mean, they're missing Casemiro. That's pretty evident from the games that we have seen. So I think that midfield has to be top notch for us, because even against Tottenham, we saw that first 10-15 minutes, I think Son even got the goal, and that was obviously ruled out. That was an offside given. And then after that, we took control in the middle of the park. Caicedo and Enzo, they were getting those link ups done, and we got the goal eventually. So I think the middle of the park is going to be very important, because Old Trafford, and it's a very
See,
different
that is where
atmosphere.
I fear. I fear that we might go a little bit negative. I don't know why I'm getting this inkling feeling that he's told Leslie Ugochukwu, boss, you take rest of the weekend, get ready for the United game you're playing. I don't know why, as in that, that man-to-man marking kind of thing, that one man on the guy. I don't know whether he had a crystal ball thinking that Gallagher will not play, but I'm just saying that maybe he'll be involved in this game. And because Cole Palmer till date, I don't think is that is although he can play and has played for City at the academy level for sure a lot of games, but I don't think he's played that cam role per se. I know he has a floating role anyway. He's strolls around, and that's what Cole Palmer brings to the table. Absolutely great. He is a future, a Chelsea Juan Mata, not a Manchester United Juan Mata, basically. But he has not played that, and playing his first game in that role against United for Chelsea, I'll be really surprised. I want that, I agree with you, but I'll be really surprised considering it's at Old Trafford, despite United's form. So I have that bad feeling that Leslie Ugochukwu is not too bad, but come on, he's not a Cole Palmer or anywhere close, right? So I just fear that, but again, Modric's got what about 80 minutes? Did he against Brighton? So
Yeah, he got
maybe
around 80.
yeah. So and again, it's very rare that Modric starts to back-to-back games. I don't know why, but it's very rare. So maybe it's a direct replacement there. So I'm giving him with the Chelsea team to United guys. I think it's got to be that. I don't think we agree, me and Orko, but probably I don't see any other thing happening unless say he's in a positive frame of mind, poised to win, and remember that we are in 10th.
Yeah. I think Caicedo, Ugochukwu, you're saying that they will go in that pivot role and probably Enzo will play in that floating role
Yeah,
at the number 10.
exactly.
Yeah.
Ankit, do you
So,
think that United's injury problems might be a cause for trouble in the upcoming Chelsea match? As a Chelsea
I
fan.
think both the teams have them, right? As in both the teams have them. So
Uh,
there's a degree of this see some we look at it negatively, but actually again, as in being old school, sometimes you take it as an opportunity for the youngsters, you take it as a degree of surprise for the opposition. Because for all we know, like we have not played against Kobe Mino, right? We haven't. Chelsea hasn't, right? We didn't play you guys in midfield in preseason, so we didn't when he was good. So I think that'll be a surprise. Him and Scott McTominay, as much as they're not Casemiro, and Mason Mount, of course, will not be there, which is the big blow. As I was wanting to see how this turns up, but again, probably is not going to be there. But I believe that there are enough players. Again, for me, I don't want to say it, but the fact is, it's all excuses. Like,
hmm.
come on, as in we got a John Terry back in the day because someone was injured at some point. We got a Harry Kane, what he is today, because at some point he got an opportunity. As in, and United is an example, a classical example of youngsters standing up. Marcus Rashford was very criticized, of course, this season for right reasons. He wouldn't have been a United player at this level if he hadn't got those opportunities because of the injuries that he had got, a few years ago. So sometimes, that's what is required. But again, is Eric Ten Hag ready to give, for example, a Pelistri a chance? For example, a Reguilon a starter? That is a question mark. As a United fan, you need to ask. But for me, as a Chelsea fan, I look at it like either ways, if an experienced player plays, it's anyway at Old Trafford, they know their stuff, and we'll anyway have to deal with them. But if it's a newish player, I remember in the Lampard first stint, we created a career out of Emil Smith Rowe, who's a great player, don't get me wrong, but that match, Arteta was in trouble, and all the news said that he was supposed to be sacked. I remember it in December game itself, and all of a sudden, you have a Saka, Emil Smith Rowe, etc., bamboozling Chelsea, and we lost that game, right? So
4-2.
correct, and that's the thing that United should take out of it. If Eric Ten Hag or someone senior can talk about such instances about Chelsea, if they remember, because those things can, move a young team like Chelsea in a bad way.
Yeah. So we'll move on to our last question. If Nkunku is fit, do you think he will start? I mean, for 45 minutes or 60 minutes doesn't. I mean,
No, nailed on. He'll not start. I'm writing and giving you any stamp paper. Give me a. He's not starting.
uh,
See, as in, even if he was fit, in a scenario where he would have played, say, first month and injured second month, then fine. But the fact is, he's a new signing. He's a future superstar, at least on paper. And then you have so many months missing. We have a busy December period and January coming up, which is a cursed traditional period. We all know as
yeah.
Chelsea fans. And he has an injury record. No ways he's playing more than 25 minutes at max. That too is very, optimistic.
Yeah. So you're saying that we are going with a pretty similar kind of a team, maybe with Gallagher. Might be Disasi goes off and Reece James comes in and Gallagher goes off and probably Enzo fills in that number 10 role.
Yeah, I think that's a good point because I think I agree with you. Bardeshil, he was awesome in the other game,
I mean,
and
we
again,
can't drop
Bardeshil.
him.
Correct. He's undroppable. I agree with you. And Disasi, although Poch has been very hesitant to drop him, he's missed all of one game in the whole season, mind you, Disasi. Somewhere down the line underrated, but let's be real. I think between him and Bardishil, if it's a direct contest for me, although they were partners earlier in Monaco, I would go with Bardishil playing and Disasi out and Reece James coming in. And in midfield, I would want, like you said, Cole Palmer directly coming in for Gallagher, but realistically, I see, I don't know why, Leslie Ugochukwu coming in for Gallagher.
Yeah. So before we end, what's the prediction for the Chelsea United game?
Oof. You know what? I would obviously love a victory, by hook or by crook. I don't care, to be honest. But being real, as someone who's seen both the clubs meeting so many times, I believe the context says that a draw is something that both clubs will accept just about right now, and the players subconsciously. And I think I can see both teams making mistakes in the midweek games. So I'm going with the 1-1.
Yeah, I think given Chelsea's track record, United might win against us because you never know. I mean, Rashford is going at a pretty bad form, and he might come out and score, and something might happen
Old
because
Trafford
we are
will be up
Chelsea.
for it. Yeah, Old Trafford will be up for this game. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess that will be it. So thanks, Ankit, for joining us. Had a very fruitful discussion with you as well. So hope
Same
to
here.
meet again in the future. And thanks.
For sure. Thank you.